I got a question for you. Why this? Why podcast?
So, yeah, that's a good question, actually, honestly. So, again, I only got my license 3 years ago. I service a younger market that's just coming out of school, and everyone's kind of trying to figure themselves out and what they want to do, and they want to make some money and stuff like that. So everyone's kind of in the same boat. Again, I was fortunate enough that I got into this business when I did because the market took off, and not only did the sales market take off, the pricing took off, and fortunately, I had bought some real estate at that time. So it's allowed me to do very well, much better than I would have if I'd pretty much done anything else outside of maybe a tech company that hit it big. And so people kind of found that out. And so the amount of people approaching me at this age that are asking about either becoming a real estate agent, investing in real estate, just wanting to know all about it, and which was great. And I always loved sharing that. But it got to a point where literally every day I'm out for 2 coffees with people to discuss how it works and how to do this and how to do that. And first of all, I'm running out of time. People I don't even know either messaging me "Hey, bro, let's grab lunch, whatever." Da da da.
Solid impression.
Yeah, that's what you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though.
Yep.
And so that's what I'm getting. And I'm at first I was "Oh, this is kind of cool." And sometimes they paid, sometimes they didn't. And I was shouldn't you be paying for this? But anyways, I guess I'm the realtor, so I got to pay. But anyway, so I would be teaching them, and then I was okay, I need to do something here to do this. And so growing up, I didn't watch TV. I watched YouTube and listened to podcasts. And so it was always kind of a fantasy in the back of my head, wouldn't it be cool to do something like this? And so then when that happened, so I was okay, now I actually have something of value that I think that I could share with people, and I want to share with people, but I need to reach a larger audience in an easier way. How can I do that? And so this has been toying in my head for almost 3 years. And it just never happened because I was building this business first. So I had to build the real estate business first, get that rolling. And now that that's succeeded, I'm okay, you know what? Now I have some time available. I've been able to build a team here that's helping me with both my actual rental properties as well as being an agent. Okay, that allowed me to get the time then to do something like this, which is, I think, something I always wanted to try and get involved in. And I still can't get over it. Still to this day, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, I get a message probably every 2 days asking for some advice, or how do I buy my first investment? How do I do this? How do I do that? And now I'm responding to them saying, hey, you know what? I have some content coming. When I get it, take a peek at it, and that might be able to answer your first baseline of questions. And we can still chat, and I'll still help you out. But you could probably get a lot of the information answered from this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think just in general, the timing is kind of right in some sense, because I think there's a bit of a generational boom with millennial, Gen X, Gen Zs, that whatever range that is, the 20 to 35 range of everybody now is looking for a little something to do with their cash.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if there was a secret to it, the secret's out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing how much has changed even in the last 7 to 8 years. Like I was mentioning before we started recording, that I had met some, now long-term clients who are really sharp and who've grown nice little portfolios of their own. And I met them because I was writing articles for the Chronicle Herald, which this was back when there was no social media. And that's not that long ago. But so I was putting out this content through print media. Rest in peace, print media.
What's that? I just
you mean book reading? And so one of the articles that I did was called "So You Want to Be a Landlord," and it was the one that I got probably the most response to.
Yeah.
And it was predominantly young guys reaching out to me, and I say guys because it just happened to be predominantly men that were reaching out to me for whatever reason. Saying, they liked that article and they wanted to meet with me.
Yeah.
And I met with them over coffee to discuss the contents of the article. And then they became clients long-term. But that was before social media like that. That was where I was putting it out. But yeah, people were reaching out and, always happy to take those meetings, and they grew and they had a lot of success, and multi-unit residential sales are a big part of my selling business as a result. But personally, the reason I wanted to be a prof was because I really enjoy teaching.
Yeah.
I like, because I like the pursuit of learning myself, and I like having that engagement of that exchange and of ideas. So, I don't listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
I kind of followed one for a while that was real estate sales based, but that's it. I don't even know how one could listen to this. Spotify, is that how someone would listen to this one day?
Yeah, there's a few different opportunities there.
I'm not a podcast guy, but I've often thought about because I'm interested in coaching programs. Like, oh man, someone could develop a program specific to this.
Yep.
But even the coaching world, I think, has realized there's a scaling limit and how you funnel customers, listeners through that, as
Yep.
opposed to a podcast, which is just immediately there. It's content, that is in its own right packageable and can be turned into a product without some of these, a few years ago, it would all be like, oh, buy this program to
Yep.
learn this and, pay for these videos. And that's not really how people are consuming this information. They want it ready-made and there are people providing it. But I felt there was a little bit of a lack of expertise in the actual,
The industry,
like being put out. I mean, there's no requirement, there's no base level to be able to, put on your business card income property specialist. Like that's
Yeah.
not a thing.
Yeah.
And so some of the content that comes out there, or some of the people that, represent that they have an expertise in a certain field, I'd kind of question that, and it's perfectly fine. But I kind of always like, well, people should really get the right information about this because, yeah, it's simple ideas and applied in a certain way, but it is good to sort of talk about that with people who've gone through the process.
Yeah.
I mean, the Burr model is amazing to me, not in the model itself, but in that like someone took what everyone had been doing for decades, generations,
Put
and
some
turned it
letters
into
on
an acronym and is like loaded as a result. I assume. I don't know who came up with that, but it's mind blowing. People are like, oh, I do the Burr method. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they walk through. I'm like, yeah, that's literally what everyone does. But good on them. Like, man, that's so great that. But it took the package is what's important, right?
Yeah.
Someone put it in a message that was very consumable for people who were looking for this.
Yeah.
And it's easy to understand, it's easy to apply and replicate, and then you can gather the information around it. But I found that really interesting, and then I knew you were doing this, so
Kind of made sense.
yeah.